We are here at the Old Capital Conference in 2023. As you can tell clearly by this room, I'm the only one at the conference with a camera. And yes, on the other side, people are staring at me. I'm here interviewing investors and seeing how they got into buying an apartment complex. So if you want to see how you can actually buy an apartment complex, because it is possible, you want to check this out. Okay, so real quick, what is your name and what do you do?
James Wilson. I'm a commercial lender with Old Capital Lending here in Dallas, Texas. And we get financing for multifamily properties, 5 units and up across the country.
How did you get into the commercial space? Were you coming in as an investor first, or was it a lending background?
I bought my first single family house probably 10 years ago. And so started getting into the single family space, reading blogs, listening to podcasts. And I got really interested in multifamily. And so I started reading books about multifamily. One year I just said, okay, I'm getting into multifamily. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I actually went to meetup.com. I found a local meetup and I was like, this is awesome. Everybody here is talking about real estate. Like usually I'm trying to tell my friends this local meetup was everything I needed. And then I started meeting people in the industry. Next thing you know, I started listening to Old Capital podcast. Next thing I email one of the guys at Old Capital and I joined. So here I am.
Did you invest in a multifamily deal before you joined Old Capital, or were you become LPs afterwards?
I invested in 4 deals before I became a broker as a lender. And I was going to invest in more, but you learn a lot as a lender. So the interest rates go up and I just haven't invested in over a year. Looking forward to some opportunities next year.
One last question for you is, what's been the unlock?
I think it's just been a combination. For over 10 years, I've been researching financial literacy. So it's hard to really say the unlock. I guess the common answer for most real estate investors is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. But I read that probably 20 years ago. Maybe not that long ago, but pretty close. And that clicked in me to watch what income came in and what came out. I wasn't necessarily going for real estate, but it really got me to start paying attention to finances and cash flows. That was probably one of the books that changed a lot for me.
Okay, and real last question. What's been the dumbest purchase you've ever made in your life? And what would you consider the best purchase you've ever made?
All right, dumbest purchase. I was lucky to read that book when I was like 20 years old.
Okay.
So I haven't really made any dumb purchases. Maybe spending too much on a vacation or something. Okay. I'm not very materialistic, so I don't really buy a lot of stuff. And then smartest decision I've ever made? Probably the duplex that I house hacked a few years ago. I bought it right during COVID. It didn't have rent to pay, Airbnb'd it, and then single family prices or duplex prices went through the roof and I sold it for a huge profit within like less than 2 years. So
what was the profit?
I cleared $200K.
You made $200K in 2 years just from holding it.
Year and a half.
Solid, thank you. Trevor, you ready to rock and roll? What is your name, age, and what's the portfolio look like?
Trevor Thompson. I am 64 years old and have 29 total deals.
And the theme of the conference is everyone is on that wait on the sideline, but you just closed a deal, was it like last week?
We closed a couple of deals. You just got to find the right deals and just keep working them and working them. One deal, we saw it in January, we made an offer, we didn't win. Saw it in March, made an offer and didn't win. Saw it in August, made an offer and won. And we never put our price up. They put their price down. So we said it's worth this, that's all we can pay, and you can't get emotionally involved in it. So we underwrote about 500 deals to be able to do 10 deals.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's a lot. And then on an average time right now, how long are you spending just on your quick sniff test?
The quick sniff test we've got pretty good because we've now got a bunch of VAs overseas. So they one uploads all the information, one does the initial analysis, then it goes to a committee that looks at it. So we can usually sniff test in a couple of hours.
That's a system that I'm trying to build out. So for those who are trying to do a deal, whether it be now or we're waiting on the sidelines for when the whole world breaks, what's your advice to them?
So my advice is make sure the debt works because debt is what's killing everybody right now, right? We got one deal, we're paying 10%. We knew we were paying 10% and it's fixed debt. We're never going to go up and the deal worked at 10%. Full recourse debt, but it's okay because the numbers worked. We're still able to return 20+% IRR to our investors. So it works.
That's a solid return. That is an easy pitch. How about for someone who's never invested in real estate before? Obviously, interest rates are interesting, election year next year. What would you tell them?
The number one most important thing if you want to invest is who you give your money to is more important than anything else. Make sure you find somebody, you get to like them, they're honest, they're open, they offer learning, they let you ask all the dumb questions, which there are no dumb questions, and they're patient with you, and then they walk walk you along. And if you don't invest in my deal, what I'll say, let me just send you the information that we're sending to our investors so you can see how we're performing. So look for somebody that's going to do that for you. You really want somebody that cares about your money more than their own.
I completely agree. Track record is everything. Last question I got for you is an interesting horror story or something that's happened in your either multifamily space or investing space, and how did you guys troubleshoot that?
Yeah, so unfortunately we didn't get out of it. So I'm a passive investor in a deal in Austin. They had a fire. They didn't collect enough insurance proceeds to pay the fire. The lender took the proceeds and held on to it, and then they were going to foreclose. So actually the general partnership had to put $70,000 in just so us passive investors are at zero, and they didn't have a repossession. So everybody lost all their money. But don't be afraid of that, right? I've been in 29 deals. It's happened once, and I've had other deals 3x my money in 20 months. On average, one bad deal out of 29.
Any different thing that you're looking for now?
Just anything that pencils out and makes sense. Anything that you can get good fixed stat on, it makes sense.
What is your name, age, and what's your real estate portfolio look like?
My name is Jaime Moranin. I have short-term rentals in the Bay Area, California. Have property in San Antonio, Oklahoma, part of a syndication in Alabama, Decatur.
What was the first deal?
My first deal was my primary, which I house hacked. I turned it into a 3-unit, and then I was mortgage-free.
So then what is your advice for someone who wants to get into real estate?
I would say while you're trying to figure it out, save as much money as you can. Talk to other people that are investing in real estate. I would say my suggestion is to figure out a way to house hack.
What deal has made you the most money?
My second property in South San Francisco, which we now Airbnb.
What's the numbers look like on that?
I'm grossing maybe 110 a year.
And what do you think the expenses are for over the year?
What's like the operating expense?
Yeah.
I'd say maybe 40%.
Did you make like 65 grand on one deal?
Yeah.
Solid. And so what's next?
What's next is syndication. So I'm looking for passively investing in apartment syndications, but I'm also looking in those deals to learn to get on the GP side. So I'm looking to capital raise.
So real quick, what is your name and what do you do?
My name is Matt Wasco. I'm with Rowan Multifamily Advisors. I'm an investment sales broker for apartments here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
So you as a broker, what is the best way that someone can break into the multifamily space?
For a first timer, it's critical to partner with someone that has done it before. Find someone experienced, learn the ropes by participating as an LP before you jump in as a GP. You don't have to do it that way, but I think there's a lot of knowledge and growth that can come from that to then know what you're doing when you go take on your first deal as a GP.
As you see different partnership formations, how many are approaching that kind of on that mentor-mentee perspective? Is that very common right now, or what are you seeing?
That's very common, absolutely. A lot of the people that we work with today as GPs started as LPs 10 years ago. Some of them started in some of the mentorship programs and have graduated to, hey, they're their own vertically integrated company now, or they're raising money on their own. They've started their own company. It's definitely somewhere that a lot of people have built wealth and started from the bottom as an LP and grown up to being a GP. So, yeah.
Sweet, man. Well, that's it. What is your name and what asset classes are you interested in?
My name is Chang. We are in multifamily, and that's where we want to focus and build on. We also do some land entitlement stuff too.
My name's Edison, also looking into multifamily.
My name is Jaime, also into multifamily, but not opposed to RV parks and mobile homes.
What would you say if someone wants to get into their first deal, what should they do?
Get educated, get mentors, network, stack some chips so you could be in this space, and continue to relentlessly think of ways you could add value to someone that is experienced so you could leverage their experience to break into this industry.
Edison, what about you?
Mine is definitely networking. I'm in that phase that I'm just meeting everybody I can. I'm going to need to know the brokers, the agent, insurance, everybody.
How about you, Jamie?
Dude, everyone said the answers, so I'm just gonna let them speak.
And so that way she can eat. Chang, how did you link up with Tony?
I was the driver for her, so she linked up with Tony first, and I was very fortunate to be her +1, and I just thought about ways where I could add value and continue to show curiosity, commitment to this industry and space.
I feel like a lot of people say it a lot of add value or be important to important people is like another thing that I hear. And sometimes it is like right place, right time. And you literally just said it's because you were just helping them drive them around Dallas for deals. And now you are a key, both of you guys are key essential players to the team. So you know whatever the value could be. What is your name and what do you do?
My name is John Nia. I'm an attorney. We do syndication and crowdfunding work.
So we're new syndicators. We did our first deal as a co-GP last year. If you have new syndicators looking to come into the space, what's the first thing you would tell them to do, especially when they're looking for legal help?
First thing is probably don't do it alone. You always want to have a partner for obvious reasons, right? Two heads are better than one, but also continuity issues, right? If you're doing it by yourself, yourself and something were to happen to you, what's going to happen with your investors' money? But you always want to have that in the back of your mind to have some sort of backup plan in place.
Could you tell us a time of a worst case scenario or something that happened where you're like, you should have talked to an attorney first?
Yeah, so I mean, we run into it all the time where someone maybe did a deal that they called a friends and family offering, right? They're raising money from their friends and family, and they did it without an attorney because they thought, I'm just collecting money from my brother-in-law, my nephew, or whatever. We don't need an attorney to draft all this legal work for us. But at the end of the day, you're still selling securities, and the SEC has a bunch of rules in place, and there's no such thing as a friends and family offering, right? There's Regulation D offering, there's Regulation A offering, and even if you're raising money from people that you're very close with, there's the risk that the deal could go south, SEC can find out about it and come after your ass.
What does happen when they come after our asses?
The SEC can fine you, right? They can make you refund all of your investors. If you've done something really bad, maybe committed some sort of fraud or something like that, they'll refer you over to the DOJ, Department of Justice, and you could potentially go to jail.
And then just the random personal finance question to just bring some humanity into the podcast. What is the dumbest purchase you've ever made and the best purchase you've ever made?
Oh my God, dumbest purchase. I just bought a house recently in the Bay Area, Northern California. Don't get me wrong, I love my house, but geez, the prices there, man. We paid so much for such a small house.
I'm from San Jose.
I'm in San Bruno. You know the market there, and it was last year, right, when interest rates were like 4%. Everyone's trying to buy, multiple bids on houses. They list it for 1.5, ends up selling for like over 2. Maybe not the dumbest purchase, but in my mind recently, a very expensive purchase.
And then what do you think is the smartest purchase or the best purchase you ever made?
That's a good question. I don't know. I was going to say my wife's engagement ring, but that could go either way too, right?
But that was like a purchase for love that you can't put a price on.
Exactly.
Yeah, the buying a home in the Bay Area, that is, especially when you're looking at the delta between renting and buying. I haven't taken the jump. I'm still renting there too, and we're just buying out of state.
Yeah, that's a smart thing to do.
Right on, man. Thank you.
Cool, yeah.
So real quick, I guess, what is your name and what do you do?
So my name's Wes Rock. I'm a broker with Marcus & Millichap here in Dallas, Texas. We specialize in the 4 major counties, Dallas, Collin, Tarrant, and Denton County. Only multifamily, larger deals.
Then do you also GP or LP too?
So I don't do that. I do invest with my clients a bunch. Anytime there's a good opportunity, I want to partake in the action. So I do invest on the side as well.
Is it primarily multifamily stuff or have you ventured off into other asset classes as well?
So I've done a little bit of oil and gas, but I'd say 95% of my portfolio is multifamily. I'm a broker. I buy and sell it. It's safe for me because I know what I'm investing in. I have the knowledge and I know the people who operate it, which is a huge part of the equation. And say it's not what you're investing in, it's who you're putting the money with or who you're investing with. It provides me a lot of safety investing in these deals.
How did you get into the commercial real estate space and how long have you been in it?
It was a conference about 4 or 5 years ago, was focused on single family, and I just wanted to get to that next level in investing and brokering. I attended a conference like this, opened my eyes, and I said, man, that's the next step I need to take.
How long did it take you to first actually get traction in the space?
So this is going to scare a lot of people, but to the day, it took me 375 days before I made my first paycheck in multifamily.
Holy, wow.
375 days. And so when they say that commercial real estate is no joke, it's 100% true. It's not a get-rich-quick business, but I will tell you, ever since that first dollar I made, every year has been better and better after that. It's who you surround yourself with, staying focused. Those are the keys to really having a successful venture in multifamily. Don't get discouraged.
And then for the rookie operators who are trying to get into the space and maybe GP their first deal, what's the advice you'd give them?
My advice is be focused and don't be afraid to get dirty. Your first deal, look for something where you can put sweat equity into it. You're not going to be able to compete with everybody else when it comes to the shiny, perfect deal. Look for the deal where it's going to take extra hours. Look for the deal where you can contribute some personal time to. If it's easy, everyone would do it. So do the deal that nobody wants to do so you could get that reward down the line.
What is your name and what do you do?
My name is Dusty Wolf. I'm the president of Central Partners. We're a third-party property management company.
And you have also taken over management of the Ventura property. That was our first GP deal. So my question is, I know that you gave your talk to the group earlier this week about how you started, but what has been the growth trajectory for you? Has there been one thing that maybe has been an unlock to growing your business?
We're a boutique company. There was a joke about how big the pond is and how you fit in, whatever. So most of our growth has been through word of mouth, which we're very proud of. That's the best recommendation you can get, obviously. I think probably the biggest issue right now is finding good professional talent. It's a bargaining war right now. So if you've got good on-site managers, especially good on-site maintenance folks, you're paying premiums. Not that they're not worth the money, but you're paying premiums for that kind of talent. That's tap the brakes on expansion, is making sure we have the right people doing the right job.
The staffing piece, of course, for any business is the hardest thing, and retaining, and you guys have a good retention record, which is awesome. But
we do. We have a great retaining. Our average tenure in our company, we're 40 years old. It's 19 years, and we have people who've been there since day one. 40 years with the company, 35 years in accounting, and we feel we get that honor because they believe what we do. They believe what we are telling our clients, how we assist them. But again, it's a team effort, and it's not just Central, it's the ownership and the GPs and the limited to help us craft the right success plan.
And the last question I got for you, Dusty, just because we are learning by fire with Tony right now, and of course our group now will want to do our own deal. When you're working with new lead GPs, what would you say would be an asset class that you would encourage them to look to as they come from a property manager?
Probably the most moderate and commonsensical start is workforce housing. And I really think you try to look for maybe the location that's that basic 101 location. Just try to find that B area where you've got a C property where there's some lift. And the other part of that is you got to be patient. It's a patient business. You can put anything down on your spreadsheet that you want to start collecting twice the rent the next day. It looks good on paper, but the reality is it doesn't happen that fast. But you can get there. We're looking at probably not properties any older than 1985, somewhere in that range. Part of that is you're looking at properties at that point, 45, 50 years old. And there's going to be some deterioration. Not that it's not correctable, but it's costly to do it. But again, location, age, workforce housing, skilled labor, food and beverage, that kind of thing, young executives for your demographics, you'll be served well.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
So the question I have, does the mentality or what the expectations is for someone who has done their first deal or hasn't done a deal yet versus like a seasoned investor change at these conferences? So what should a newbie at one of these conferences be doing?
I think a newbie, they're just trying to soak up information, because when I started in 2015, I didn't know anything. So the conversations you're having are a little bit different.
Yeah.
The more seasoned people here, they're trying to get a deal done next week. Whereas the newbie is like just forming their team. So they're maybe trying to meet general partners, limited partners, just getting the broker to know them. The newbies are probably sitting in the audience, soaking in all the information and getting that data, just so that when they do call somebody else, I feel like their level of knowledge increases significantly just from one day here, because you're listening to people who are doing it day in and day out. The way you talk improves significantly.
I can completely agree. How about for the conference? This is the 8th or 7th?
Seventh year we've done it. Started 2017. We've had it at the largest places in Dallas, like AT&T Stadium, Globe Life Park. This year we're having it at Frontiers of Flight Museum, and the theme really is Top Gun, and there's a lot of airplane analogies that we use that correspond to multifamily, and so we just brought that in and did a bunch of videos.
I was telling James Wilson, those videos you had, some of those you need to be posting on TikTok or on something.
So we always get people here live. You were here to see it, and it's like a movie premiere here at the conference. We gave a little trailer. The videos are really in context of the whole program. So we look at the whole program and we figure out what movies can build. So that's why we do it that way.
Whoever wrote the script, was that you?
So there is some script writing, and there's also just some ad lib. Once we get into it, James Wilson does a lot of cutting to make us look good, because in reality, we're real estate guys, we're not actors.
The last question is, we are all here to eventually make money somehow. How has hosting the conference impacted your business?
I think when you host the conference, Gary Vee says hosting the high school party, all of a sudden you're the guy who's hosting the coolest party in town. And so people know you immediately. You're connecting with everybody. You've got everybody's contact information. There's not really any other lender. There's really not any other general partnership group. Instead of 1,000 lenders, you're down to 5. So it gives you instant brand recognition in a space that is, everything's becoming more commoditized. So when you have that brand, and then when you hear from people who come, this is like not their first year. This is like the 5th year. This is worthwhile for people to come out to spend a day and a half here in Dallas, and they get so much value in such a short amount of time. It works.
I'm sure there's been hundreds of deals that have come because of it.
There's definitely some stuff that comes to Old Capital and all the directors at Old Capital. There's some stuff that I don't even think would ever happen. So people have come here and they've met obviously other general partners and limited partners, and some people have come here and this is like a whole community. So if something happens to somebody, we support that person, and we usually can find, if someone loses a job at one place, they usually have this network of people, and all of a sudden they have a job literally like in 1 week.
Last question. Over under, do you think there's been of 1 billion in transactions because of the conference?
1 billion in transactions. I'm gonna go yes. 7 years, definitely 1 billion. Because a lot of the people here, they've not only done one deal. Usually what happens is they do a 5 million, then they do a 15, then they do a 30 million.
Yeah.
And that's just one group.
Yeah.
And so there's tons of people here that even I've done hundreds of millions in loans with. So times that by the 10 people we have on the team, it's easily 1 billion.
So you're going over. Congratulations. Real quick, what is your name? How old are you? And what does your portfolio look like?
My name is Richard Shentu. I am 25 years old, and right now we have a portfolio of 4 multifamily properties here in Texas, totaling about 450 units.
25? Dude!
Right?
Amazing. Amazing.
I'm not there yet, but my name's Sonny. I have 4 single-family home rentals and 4 partnerships. I don't know the unit count, probably 35, 40. Yeah, that's it.
When I was 25, I was just like on the beach, not trying to buy rentals.
I'm 25 plus 7, so that's 32 for those who are wondering. My name is Vinci Sevilla, and we own about 35 million in assets under management that consist of long-term rentals, short-term rentals, and large multifamily.
Sweet. Okay, the one question I have for all of you, actually I have 2 questions. So the first question is, how much money do you think you actually need as a nest egg to get started? Let me throw it, Vinci, I'm gonna throw it to you and you pass the mic this way.
Absolutely. Okay, let's see here. I started with a house hack, right? $8 grand. $8 grand. It was a single family home out in Southern California, bought back in 2015. 2 years out of college for me. I was 23 years old when I bought that one and decided to house hack. Started with 8.5 grand and then went from there.
To get started, you only need a down payment. Straight from like the military, that's 0 down. But if you're not from the military, it's 5% down. So depending on your market, and I'm in the Sacramento market, so average cost is about 400. So how much do you need? Like 50,000 to get started. And you could get started by house hacking. That's the number one method I would suggest to anybody who wants to get started, because house hacking is the easiest way.
We are 2 for 2 right now on house hacking, but with the VA loan, you got a 0. Sonny, but how about you? I don't know how you got started, but how much money do you think someone needs to get started?
I think for someone to get started really is investing in your education first. You can find free resources, or you can spend money to get a mentorship or attend seminars, things like that. Really, how much money you need for your education really depends on how much you want to invest in yourself. And the more you invest in yourself, the more knowledge you have to find investments that make sense to you. You don't need money to make money. If you could find house hacking, that's probably the easiest way, or even wholesaling. Really, you don't need money to make money in this industry.
Love it. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Everyone, thanks so much. My name is Josh Baldovino. I'm a marketer and I'm a real estate investor. And if you enjoyed content like this, make sure to like it and share it with anyone else you think is looking to get into the commercial real estate space. And I will see you all on the next one. Cheers.